Hello everyone, welcome back to Shiksha Therapy. I am Lalit Parihar and today we are going to discuss drug absorption and bioavailability. In the previous lecture we discussed the basic concept of pharmacokinetic and ADME. Today we will focus on the first step of pharmacokinetics, absorption, and understand how a drug moves from its site of administration into systemic circulation. And we will also discuss the factor affecting absorption, first pass metabolism, and bioavailability. So let's start. What is drug absorption? Drug absorption is the movement of an unchanged drug from its site of administration into the systemic circulation. In simple words, administration के बाद drug का blood stream तक पहुंचना is called drug absorption. The journey involves four basic steps. First, the drug is administered by a specific route. Second, the drug dissolves in the body fluid. Third, the dissolved drug crosses biological membrane. And finally, it reaches systemic circulation and is distributed to the different tissues. The important point is that absorption determines how rapidly and how much drug reaches the blood stream. Mechanism of drug action. Drug cross biological membrane through different mechanism. The most common mechanism is passive diffusion. Last class में भी हमने discuss करा था इसको. Here the drug moves from higher to lower concentration without using energy. In facilitated diffusion, a carrier is required but no ATP is used. In active transport, the drug can move against the concentration gradient. The process requires a carrier as well as energy in the form of ATP. Endocytosis involves vesicles formation and it mainly important for large molecules. And in filtration, small molecules move through aqueous pores. The most important point to remember is for many drugs, passive diffusion is the major mechanism of absorption. pK, pH and drug ionization. Drug absorption is strongly influenced by pH, pK and the degree of ionization. In general, the unionized form of drug is more lipid soluble and crosses biological membrane more easily. The ionized form is usually more water soluble and crosses lipid membrane less efficiently. Weak acid and weak bases shows different degree of ionization depending on the pH of the surrounding environment. सिंपल याद रखें, सेम pH मोर एब्जॉर्प्शन. जो ड्रग का pH है वही हमारे इन्वायरमेंट का भी pH है, तो एब्जॉर्प्शन ज़्यादा होगा क्योंकि एट दैट टाइम ड्रग हमारी अनआयोनाइज्ड रहती है. जब pH चेंज होगा तो ड्रग आयोनाइज हो जाएगी और उसका एब्जॉर्प्शन कम हो जाएगा. तो लिपिड सॉल्युबिलिटी, अनआयोनाइज्ड फ्रैक्शन एंड कंसंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट ये सब मिला करके इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं मेम्ब्रेन परमिएशन को. Factor affecting drug absorption. Several factors can influence drug absorption. Drug-related factors including lipid solubility, molecular size, ionization, dosage form, and dissolution rate. Physiological factors include surface area, blood flow, gastric emptying time, and intestinal motility. And route-related factors include local blood supply, contact time, barrier thickness, and route of drug administration. Food and drug interactions can also affect absorption. For example, some drugs may interact with food, undergo chelation, or so altered absorption due to change in gastrointestinal pH. So absorption किसी एक factor पे depend नहीं करता. It is influenced by the drug, the formulation, the route, and the patient's physiological condition. Then first pass metabolism. Now let us understand, this is very important concept. After oral administration, the drug is absorbed from the gastrointestinal tract (GI tract) and enters the portal circulation. पोर्टल सर्कुलेशन जो कि हमारे स्टमक से लीवर को की तरफ ब्लड सप्लाई जा रही है, ये वेन है, पोर्टल सर्कुलेशन या एंट्रोहेपेटिक सर्कुलेशन. Before reaching systemic circulation, it passes through the intestinal wall and liver. During this process, a portion of the drug may be metabolized. As a result, less unchanged drug reaches systemic circulation. This is called the first pass effect or first pass metabolism. If a drug undergoes extensive first pass metabolism, it may require a higher oral dose or an alternative route of drug administration. Bioavailability. This is also a very important concept. Um, Bioavailability is the fraction or percentage of an administered dose that reaches systemic circulation in unchanged form. Unchanged means that form which is available for functioning, available for binding with the receptor and or available at the site of action for action. For an intravenous drug, bioavailability is 100% because the drug directly enters into the systemic circulation. For oral administration, drugs bioavailability may be less than 100% due to incomplete absorption and first pass metabolism. So bioavailability tells us how much of the administered dose actually become systematically available. This concept is very important for dose selection and comparison of different formulations. So, plasma concentration time curve. The plasma concentration time curve helps us understand drug exposure in the body. Three important parameters are shown here: Cmax, Tmax and AUC. Cmax is the maximum observed plasma concentration of the drug. Tmax is the time required to reach Cmax, and AUC area under the curve, which represents the total systemic exposure to the drug. Simply interpretation is Cmax tells us the peak concentration, Tmax gives information about the rate of absorption, and AUC tells us the overall extent of drug exposure. These parameters are very important in pharmacokinetic and bioavailability study. And what is the difference between absolute versus relative bioavailability? Bioavailability can be classified as absolute and relative bioavailability. Absolute bioavailability compares an extravascular formulation such as an oral dosage form with intravenous administration. Because the IV route provides complete systemic availability, 100% bioavailability, it serves as the reference. Relative bioavailability compares one non-IV formulation with another formulation of the same drug. इसमें हम IV को नहीं कंसिडर करेंगे. For example, two different tablet formulations can be compared. Simple difference है इसमें. Absolute bioavailability में हम यूज कर रहे हैं रेफरेंस में IV, ठीक है, और रिलेटिव में हम यूज कर रहे हैं दूसरी फॉर्मुलेशन रेफरेंस के लिए. Let us quickly summarize today's lecture. Drug absorption is the movement of a drug from its site of administration into systemic circulation. Drug can cross membrane by passive diffusion, facilitated diffusion, active transport, endocytosis and filtration. But many of the drugs cross membrane by passive diffusion mechanism. Drug absorption is influenced by pH, pK and ionization, lipid solubility and physiological conditions. Also dosage form, drug and drug interactions. इसमें याद रखना है same pH, more absorption. First pass metabolism in the gut wall and liver may reduce systemic drug availability. Bioavailability describes the rate and extent of drug reaches into the systemic circulation in unchanged form और कह सकते हैं in active form. And finally Cmax, Tmax and AUC are important parameters used to characterize drug exposure. Thank you. So that was our short discussion on drug absorption and bioavailability. In the next lecture, we will discuss drug distribution and volume of distribution. Thank you for watching Shiksha Therapy. If you found this lecture helpful, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. I am Lalit Parihar. Keep learning and I will see you in the next lecture.